Right, so let's get into it. We are going to do the unboxing. First look at, this is actually just a sample. This is one of one. This is before this planner has gone into production. So there have actually been a few little changes, but only small minor detail changes. Um, However, this is going to be an exclusive look at what we have so far with the 100-day goal daily planner from achieving100.com. So yeah, it comes with this nice protective sleeve. Um, Overcome procrastination, self-sabotage, a 100-day guide to achieving your goal. Cool. Pop it open. Comes this little wrapper. Let's just put this box aside, and there we have it. So yeah, nice design, kind of that old classic notebook style with the cork bottom. The logo, we have this like pew fake kind of leather, which is kind of nice to touch. Nice embossed logo, QR code to the website where future videos of how-tos will be on there for the guides. Nice leather strap for a bit of privacy and just stop it opening in the wind and stuff. And pen holder, 2 ribbons, and yeah, nice subtle design. You wouldn't mind taking that, the ideas out and about with you. This kind of planner that's going to be on your person, so if you get to a cafe or whatever, you're not going to mind opening it up, So yeah, let's crack into it. Inners, property of the front page. We get into a little picture of Sisyphus. It's kind of a long story. I might do a little video on the Sisyphus story, covering later on. But essentially, it's about finding purpose within meaningless tasks or goals in life, and why goals can be an important way to set up one's life. But yeah, we'll get into that more in another video. Dedication, just copyright, and then we just get into the introduction. So simplicity is key. What does it take to achieve your goals? 5 essential steps. Define your goal, set a deadline, identify your motivations, create a daily action plan, execute the plan with small daily tasks. I think yes, we all know this, but to do this well and to do it consistently is the part that is difficult. Okay, so yeah, let's crack on. We got the contents and then introduction. So essentially, this planner, it's got some upfront stuff. This introduction is a little bit about the reason why this planner was created and my frustrations and struggles through life and what led me to creating this planner. But essentially, before we get too deep into this, it's a very simple system. It's got 2 exercises. Exercise 1, write down your goals. Exercise 2, your motivations. And then the third one is a 100-day countback calendar. But yeah, we'll go through the page and we'll get there. So a little introduction about why the book came into life. Small flow chart into what we're going to do. We're going to list our goals. We're going to select one. We've got a very specific exercise into breaking down motivations into your higher, everyday, and lower selves. Then you use the calendar, and then you have your references in terms of a digital support guide that explains the calendar and breaks down further for those interested. And then the website for how-tos. And then we celebrate. So yeah, very simple. Another introduction about goal setting. And then we get straight into exercise 1. The good thing about this planner is there's loads of examples. So this is a general example of how to set effective 100-day goals. And it just walks you through the process and kind of categorizes where normally people set their goals. So health and fitness, career, personal growth, financial goals, creative projects, community and connection. So It gives you some ideas if you're a little bit lost as to what your goals are. But it's just ideas. The great thing with this goal setting calendar is your imagination is your limitation. Essentially, if you can think it up, if it's a goal, it's something that's speaking to you, then this planner can help you make it a reality. Then we go into my personal examples just to make it a little bit more relatable. And we teach you a little bit how to write your goals, which is quite important. So we teach you about the SMART approach. And we essentially want you writing these goals as though you've already achieved them. This is the famous Brian Tracy exercise of sitting down, pen to paper, and writing down 10 to 12 goals in the present or past. We kind of do it in the past as well, as though they've already been achieved. And then selecting the goal which jumps off the page to you, the one that you think would most have an impact on your life. Okay, so if you just want a couple of examples here, for example, like ran a marathon. I conquered my first 26.2 mile marathon, training 3 to 5 times weekly for 14 weeks, which is 100 days, finishing in under 5 hours. So yeah, set those goals out really clearly, like completed my motorcycle license. I earned my A2 motorcycle license by completing a 20-hour training course, passing theory and practical tests in 100 days. So yeah, the great thing is it really can be anything. Okay, and then it's your turn. Exercise 1, you sit down. This is probably hardest. This is the hardest exercise in the book. Sit down and write down your goals. This is something that I've had a lot of resistance to in my life. I think a lot of people do, but this really is a separator between people who achieve things and people who don't. It's sitting down and actually thinking about, like, in the next 5-10 years, what's on my bucket list? Like, what really are the things that are speaking to me that I would like to spend time on and achieve? Because these are the things that we normally just don't spend time on, or we don't consistently spend time on. So just sitting down and writing down, it's an extremely hard thing to do. It might take you a few days to sit down and do this task. This one will nag at you. But yeah, once you do it, and it's actually not that difficult once you actually force yourself to sit down, is the same as like going to the gym. The hardest bit is getting out of the house, putting your shoes on. Same thing here. It's actually just finding a time, quiet space, bit of silence, sit down. You've got the examples. Think about you, pen to paper. What is it that you really want to achieve? And then yeah, normally one jumps off the page and like, that's the one I should be getting on with right now. So you select that one and we move on to exercise 2. This is kind of unique to this planner. I'm not seeing this anywhere else. It's something that over my lifetime I kind of picked up from other sources, other experts, and it's my own idea. But essentially, it has a lot in common with Carl Jung's work, famous psychologist, which is the idea of befriending the shadow. It's about getting in touch with, we'll teach you this lower self, your lower being. So what we do, we're now going to write down our motivations, okay? So I give you some examples of mine, which is helpful. So what you're going to do, you're going to write down the goal that you've just selected, and then we're going to pick out the reasons why you want to achieve that goal. And we're going to split those reasons, those motivations, into higher self motives, everyday self motives, and lower self motives. So what does that mean? So your higher self would be the best version of yourself. So some reasons why the best version of yourself wants to complete that goal, okay? So example, my goal was this book, author my first book. I dedicated at least 45 minutes daily for 100 days to write, edit, and publish a bespoke daily planner. This is my goal. So my higher self would be like, why do you want to do that? So these are the reasons, like to make my parents proud, to serve God, to teach others, to become a producer instead of a consumer. You know, these are like the higher reasons. Then we have everyday self motives. So these are just, you with your everyday self is just you with your everyday mask on, the normal you, warts and all, like the people who you'd ask your friends, who are you? That's the way they describe you when you go to school, to work, how your friends see you, how you see yourself on just an everyday basis. So just practical reasons why you want to achieve this goal. So for example, you'd have like to have a daily outlet for my creativity, to learn, to meet people, to produce something that can generate some income or some money for me, and to test my own theory. For me, it was like testing if this actually works, this 100-day system. And then we get into really the important one, which is the lower self. So this whole exercise, setting out your motivations, for me, the key to not quitting on your goals is all derived around self-sabotage. We all have this lower self within our being, which is gonna, when the days are getting hard, or you're a bit lost, or you've got loads on to do, or you're just not that motivated, once that initial motivation dies off, this is the little voice that's going to come into your head. This is the little devil inside you who's going to be like, why are we even doing this? What's the point? Like, who even cares? Like, shouldn't you be doing something more productive? Shouldn't you just get a job? Or like earn more money, or spend time on something more important. Like, he's gonna put every question to you to get you not to carry on with your goal. Especially once you're getting into the weeds and you're getting into the hard bits. So can we motivate this person? This is the befriend the shadow. This is Carl Jung's kind of work. Can we get to know our lower self? We all have one. We all have a person who gets within us. We know who gets jealous, who sins, who gossips, who is the bad version of ourselves. We all have him. So let's try and get to know him. And then what motivates this guy? What motivates him to also do that goal? So, like, for example, to prove others wrong, to prove myself wrong, to find out who around me are not really my friends, who are not really going to be supportive of my project, to feed my ego, to boost my confidence, make me feel good about myself, make me feel big, strong, like, this guy can also be motivated. In fact, when you look at movies, when you look at things, how many times have we seen it where it's the person who's been humiliated, or who's been laughed at, who's the underdog, who really is the guy who gets super motivated to do the goal and to achieve it. So this is the key, and then once we have all these three lined up, when we have those bad days, like, why am I doing this? When this guy starts asking questions, you're going to have answers. You can just look back at your page and you can say, I have higher reasons to do it, for God, for my parents, for my mom. I have every day, earn a bit of money. Like, I need this just as a creativity outlet for my mental health. And your lower self, to prove that guy wrong. So once you have all these three lined up to achieving that goal, you've got a weapon to use on those bad days. And you can just reread this list. You can leave one of your markers in here if you need to. And just, this is an important page to come back to when you're having a bad day. Okay. And then once we've written those down, here's your time. You'll have them here. We go on to the calendar itself. Okay. So we have this carefully crafted calendar, which I've spent years kind of progressing from just a simple to-do list to what we see in this calendar. Okay, so you have a nice outlay of it here. You can take time to read through why each section is there. Like, there's nothing by accident that's on this planner, and I'll take you through on another page when it's a bit more clear, because on this small calendar is not so clear. But yeah, it just lists everything that's on here. The I'm grateful for to-do list, the schedule, the reward, and it just gives you a little summary of why each section exists. Okay, we have an overview of the 100 days. Quite nice for some people to see the 100 days and just daily tick off towards that one day. You can add the date, you can write your goal down. and just march towards your goals. Then I'm going to show you how to actually fill out. I'll give you an example of filling out one of these days. So like, for example, you can see a bit better here now that it's enlarged. And the main aspects of the calendar is you have a countdown. It's a little bit more motivating. I learned this from coaching a lot of people in the fitness industry, like counting up. It's always a lot harder when you're exercising and counting down. So we go from 100 to 1. You just do the day of the week, the date. Each morning you're going to write what you're grateful for, what you appreciate in life. Scientifically backed is a good way to start your day, to get you in a good positive mindset. Then we have repetition of your goal and the date that you're going to achieve it. So this is a little bit of manifesting here. So in 100 days, on Tuesday, the 17th of December, 2024, I will author and publish a book. Okay. Then we have a little bit on the lunar cycle, which we may have skipped the lunar cycle section. Oh no, it's coming up. Lunar cycle is coming up here to explain it. But essentially, this is about connecting with nature and understanding your emotions. Okay, so you just simple task, just keep track of where the moon is in the sky. Okay, you can do it with an app, you can think, but generally just look up, you'll know roughly where the moon is, and we'll explain a little bit deeper what that can mean for your emotional state and how it helps you be a little bit empathetic with your energy levels at times. Then we have our to-do list, and the first thing on the to-do list is the important task which is related to your goal. And the question is, what small task will I do today to move towards my goal? Now, the importance here is small task, like we don't want to overwhelm ourselves. So many times we don't reach our goals because we are too ambitious. So the idea is here is just to do the smallest thing that you're willing to do that day to move you down the field towards your goal, towards a touchline. Okay, and then we just have the rest of our normal to-do list, which you can fill up with other goal tasks that aren't as important as the first one, or just your normal day things that you put on. I've got to go shopping, I've got to collect the kids, I've got to clean the car, like things like walk the dog, whatever those normal things are. And then we can just quickly organize them on our schedule. Okay, so we just organize our tasks, organize our day. We can reward the time that we spent on them, and we can just click them off, as that's very, it's a satisfying thing to tick off the things that you do. And then we have a reward system. So reward for achieving today's goal task, which might be that, which is related to the first goal. So once you achieve it, what am I going to reward myself? Walk out, a tea, buy myself a t-shirt, I don't know, whatever is motivating to you to be more likely to reward that and actually reinforce your habit. We are just simple animals at the end of the day. We aren't that much more complicated than dogs at times. And if we achieve a task and then we get a reward, we are much more likely in the future to do that task again. We have a visualization or affirmation task each day where we'll have some things where you repeat writing things out or visualize achieving your goal, express gratitude for it, picture those you would thank. And this is another proven way of keeping us more on track with our goals. And then we just have a little bit of an assessment. Overall day, how did I do out of 5? Am I closer to the goal than I was yesterday? Yes or no? And then a little bit of today's assessment. What was good? What was bad? And then we have a quote, a powerful quote. Goal setting, don't let perfect be the enemy of good, Voltaire. We have a lot of those each day. Okay. We explain out the moon tracker, as I said before. A little pep talk. The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying a weight full of bit of Confucius. And then we get into your actual calendar. Okay. And this is just that calendar, but now it's yours to be filled out all the way. And then every 25 days, you'll get a review where you'll reconnect with your motives, write them out again, write out your goal, your motivations, and just do a little check up on if you're satisfied, if your progress is going well or not. It gives you a little bit of time to assess, and then you carry on with the next 25 days. Okay, so that's very simple. All the way to the end. Cool. And then we get a little congratulations note. Some things to think about once you achieve or finish the 100 days. Got a few notes pages on the back. Do your affirmation exercises and any note taking when you're out and about. A little about my story. And then just some thank yous. So yeah, that pretty much covers 100-day goal daily planner. This also comes with a habit tracker, which we'll go through on our videos. Also already been quite a long video. I'll show you the first sample that we had that we did in linen, but this one has now changed because this one's picking up a lot of hair from animals. But just to show you that, you know, when they're filled out, it can be pretty satisfying to look back on your goals that you've achieved. You know, you collect them and you have a book of a goal that you were chasing, and then you can remember how exactly documented how you achieved it. And you'll realize it's just so simple. It's just by doing the littlest thing you're willing to do each day. You know, what's the small task I will do today? You can consistently just do a very small thing toward your goal, you know, half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, you know, some days you may do more. But if you can just do the minimum, you'd be surprised how far you can get on your dreams and goals in life. So yeah, that's my hope. That's the way I want to help the world. I would love to see more people working on the ideas in their head and bringing them into reality. We are essentially creators. We are made in the image of God, and we've been put on this earth to create. And so many of us are, you know, in the rat race, trying to keep up with everything that we have to do. It's very difficult. But if we can just consistently have a system put there for us where we can spend that little bit of time each day on that idea, on that dream in your head, and produce it, then imagine, I always think, you know, imagine how the world might shift and be, you know. So yeah, it's a dream. We have a Kickstarter starting on October the 7th. So soon. Yep. This, you know, I need people to test this for me now. I know it works for me. For example, here's the book. That was my 100-day goal, was to make this book. I actually wrote the majority of the context within 60 days, and then the next 40 days was a lot of tweaks and editing and organizing. And then the process of publishing was something that was what took me longer. You know, sometimes our goals are bigger than what we imagine. In the 100 days, I'd written the book, I had it, but then the publishing took longer. But I was so deep within the process that then I just started another 100-day goal. And this Kickstarter itself is another 100-day goal. So yeah, you can just keep rolling them, and like, it's just a system that really works for me. And I would love now for people to try it and see if it works for them. Tell me what they like, tell me what they don't like, tell me what's missing, what's if there's anything that's too much. And yeah, maybe then come out with the next edition with the help of the community, and even more refined version of this one. And yeah, that's essentially it. So the early backers get, the first 100 people to order this will get 40% off from what the retail price is going to be. There's also the free habit tracker that comes along with it that you're going to put on the fridge, which I also want to refine with the help of the community. Yeah, I'm opening it to the whole world. So yeah, check the shipping costs before you order, because some of them are pretty expensive. I was checking, we're based here in Spain, so just double check the shipping costs before you order. Send me a message if you have any questions about that. And yeah, so just grateful. Thank you. thanks for listening. And it's a really long video. I'm not used to doing these kind of videos, so I will try and do a shorter version of what I just did as well. But yeah, thanks, and welcome to Achieving 100.